All right.
So
So
I probably only go to like 11.
welcome. This is our second recording episode of Nerdin'In.
Did you start already?
Yes, it did, and it's starting.
Look up in
This
the
is a
top
bunch of
left.
buddies here. We're all hanging. My name is Omar. I'm here in Dallas. Hello.
I'm Sean, calling out of Michigan.
I'm Bryce, calling out of Portland, Oregon.
Paul from Chico.
I'm Craig. I'm in the Bay Area in California.
Yay area. And so all of us are united because we all met in the Yay back in the day. And there's really not much more to say. Yeah, I draw bars too every once in a while, so just watch out now. Happy 4th. Happy May the 4th be with you. Paul's not embarrassed.
You
Paul's not
screwed that
embarrassed.
up.
That's just a nervous tick Paul has. He's not embarrassed. But happy 4th. As you can see, we're all celebrating, and we're here to talk about nothing but Star Wars. So let's just get this shit going.
All right, so Omar, what'd you do for May the 4th?
For May the 4th, Disney Plus surprised me with all this crazy ass shit that I didn't even realize. Like all of this concept art that they put up. So who has Disney Plus here? Raise your hands.
I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all have it.
Everybody. So
Yeah, dude.
did you guys in and just cruise around a little bit, see what's going on Disney Plus?
I didn't realize it, so I started watching the prequels at 2 a.m. And then I didn't realize they were up until after A New Hope. So then I spent some time going through them.
So you've been chilling on Disney Plus all day?
I tried to. Then I got to the Abrams movies.
Yeah.
No.
Well,
Just say no to Abrams.
Well, so for the layman's in the group, by which I mean awesome men, for the new listeners, how about that? What's wrong with the Abrams movies?
Yeah.
So for me, the first Abrams movie, so
Because
Force Awakens.
it was two of the last three, right?
Yeah.
Right. So
7 and 9 or whatever it is.
yeah, Abrams was 7 and 9.
Yeah.
So 7 is one of the big problems I have with Abrams in general, is that a lot of his big movies, he just rips off A New Hope. And
So
The Force Awakens,
the plot of 7 is this
Young
young desert planet dweller who has hopes of going off into the galaxy.
Mhm.
Han Solo in the cantina. Han Solo and Chewbacca, and this young person leaves with them to go off on an adventure, and then they are fighting this fascist space Nazi group that has a planet-killing starbase.
Right.
what's wrong with all that? That sounds amazing. That sounds like an amazing
So
But
formula.
it's not his idea. It was George Lucas's. I mean, even if you go and do his Star Trek, his first Star Trek, and you go plot for plot beat, it's A New Hope again. But I think I have a lot more issues with 9, just because on 9. So Abrams has said in interviews that he's much more interested in. So they were asking about Lost at the time, and he said he's more interested in creating the mystery box as opposed to solving the mystery. And 9 is like a whole mismatch of that, where it's like, why is Palpatine alive? Magic. Why does Kylo come back to the light side? Magic ghost. And that just got to me. At least, so Rian Johnson's movie had issues, which was 8. Had a lot of issues, but at least he tried something. Abrams.
What did he try?
So Rian Johnson at least tried to explain Kylo as a character, tried to change him as a character, tried to make a unique entry into Star Wars as opposed to making a mini Darth Vader. and also tried to actually conclude Luke's story, because Luke was kind of left in a huge
quandary.
The Luke character is very awkward, because I mean, at the end of episode 6, that's more or less his end. He's gotten what he wants. He's happy. So bringing him back is very awkward to do. And I didn't know what they were going to do with that character. And at least, I mean, a lot of people disagreed with what he did, but at least he did something with him.
All right, so a timeout on Craig's dissertation on why he thinks Abrams sucks. Real small PP.
Yes.
Which is a bad thing, because, at least, he has good teeth, if that's the case, or whatever.
What?
Kudos, Craig, or Luke Skywalker.
So
I think it's talking about Abrams.
No, so what I guess when we say Star Wars, it creates an emotional tie to a lot of people. I think all of us, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I
Yeah.
forgive all of the shit that. Yeah, go ahead.
So there's like Star Wars purists. Star Wars purists are like almost apologists. Star Wars apologists. It's like Ryan Higgins being a DC fan. That's like a Star Wars purist. Like, love anything that has a Star Wars brand. There's that Star Wars fan, right? And then there's, on the other spectrum, there's the internet troll. Like, anything new from Star Wars that's not done by George Lucas, fucking hate it. It sucks. It's shit. It's crap. And then there's somewhere in the middle. Where do you guys lie as fans? Paul?
Probably middle left, I guess. I don't know. Wait,
We're
depending.
talking about politics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That too.
It's not politics.
But I mean, I actually didn't mind a lot of the new movies, to be honest. But I think I had more issues with the first Abrams movie than I did with actually the most recent one. Just because, like Craig said, it just seemed like a carbon copy of New Hope. But Rogue One I thought was awesome. Solo had some cool stuff in it. I don't think it was as bad as a lot of people said. I thought it was a fun movie. But yeah, I like a lot of new stuff actually.
What about you, Bryce? Where are you on the spectrum of Star Wars fan?
Thank you for asking. So I actually love the Abrams stuff. I am not as into the subculture and knowing everything. And when you say that it was a carbon copy of A New Hope, I absolutely embrace that, because after the absolute debacle that was the original. No, wait. How do you air quotes that? The episodes 1, 2, and 3.
The prequels.
I mean, everybody needed A New Hope, like literally and cinematically. And so, Abrams going after it in like an identical way was like kind of like a palate cleanser. It reminded everybody in a new generation with new graphics, with like new technology. Everything was refreshed, and except for the story, which I grant you. But everything else was serviceable in a modernized capacity. And I will agree with you that it's not going to win any Academy Awards for best adapted screenplay from its own source material. But I would say that he did a good job. And this is going to be me. Most of my ranting is going to be me. Well, not ranting, but you take my point. Is going to be Abrams' apologist. I saw the most recent trilogy as Abrams absolutely rips off A New Hope. Whatever his name, Ryan, tries to Rian Johnson tries to tear it all down, and then Abrams tries to put the pieces back together. Now, that's probably wrong. It's probably right, actually. But it's while it may or may not be accurate, and however accurate it may be, you know, a lot critically and financially, the episode 7 was a success, undoubtedly. And then critics and fans started to waffle, at least, you know, according to the box office and according to Rotten Tomatoes. So, you know, don't shoot the messenger. Episode 8 was not as lauded, and then episode 9 came in, and I think that it brought the train back on the rails. Was it too little too late? I don't know. Was it just not good enough at the end of the day? I also don't know, but I like that. I like Abrams' style, so a lot of my talking is going to be, you know, in defense of that. He tried to make a lot of mystery happen in episode 7. Rian Johnson tried to shit on a lot of it in episode 8, and then he tried to put the magic back in the box in number 9. And some of it was more successful than other parts, but at the end of the day, I mean, it was mentioned accurately that, like, yeah, why is Palpatine alive? Magic. I mean, that's, you know, a lot of people are not a fan of that. I'm willing to give it a pass because, you know, he had to wrap it up somehow. Was any of it ever going to appease everybody? No. Was it ever going to be better than George Lucas's prequel trilogy? Absolutely. There was no way that he was going to lose. So where do I stand on it? I take those 3 separate from Solo and Rogue One. I've not actually seen Solo. I actually like Rogue One, but I take those as totally separate. And I've been talking too long, but the most recent trilogy, I liked 7 and 9, but, you know, again, I'm an Abrams apologist, and I'll cede the floor to somebody who wants to talk.
But
Don,
question.
where you at, Sean? Where you got with that?
Craig, you got a quick comment?
Oh, I was just going to ask Bryce, would you say that 8 is better than the prequels, or 8 is worse than the prequels? So Rian Johnson's.
Okay, great question. I think that 8 is better than the prequels, but I will say, in my opinion, the prequels are just such a mess that, like, we at that time in our adolescent nerd lives, because we're all about the same age, we wanted something so badly. The prequel trilogy came out, and it was like so actually bad, and at such a, like, heartbreaking time of our lives. Whereas, like, 8 is actually not a bad movie. It just, like, people wanted 7 to be better than it was, and I did like 7, but, like, it wasn't, you know, it's not knocking anybody's boots off. And then 8 came out, and it was purely a hit job on Abrams' machine. And so it was like, okay, so now Rian Johnson's just being an asshole because we have the bandwidth to play with that a little, because we have a little more fan credibility, because people, like, 7 was actually good. So now, and Rogue One was good, and both well received fiscally and critically. And so now we have more bandwidth to play with number 8. And he absolutely played with it. And I don't think that it was bad. I just didn't like it because, like, it's really 2 camps as I see it. It's the Abrams camp versus the Johnson camp. And that's totally cool. Some people like DC, some people like Marvel. And so, yeah, no, I mean, the prequels were absolute garbage that we just all wanted to like.
Okay, all right, so I feel like we know and the prequels. So let's just take it as that. Now, Sean, where are you in the spectrum of a Star Wars fan? Are you a internet troll? Because I think you are.
So I'm not trolling. This actually happened. For 2 hours before this, I played a Star Trek RPG with my brother and some other people for May the 4th.
We have really good balance in the Force of the Sith Lord and the Jedi on where we are in the Star Wars pantheon. We can see Sean is on the far right, and then we probably have me on the far left, because I'm a Star Wars loving motherfucker, and I will tell you now.
Wait, so who decided? Where do we decide that the Star Wars is the far left and Star Trek is the far right? Was this already established?
That was Paul. Somehow it started with Paul.
So
Sorry.
I agree with Bryce. The prequels are trash. I'm also agreeing with the
Great.
guys
I
that
just
the new
No.
trilogy is also trash. If you can
Prequels has the
all the
best
money in
fucking
the world,
lightsaber battle, dude.
what?
Prequels
But,
has the best lightsaber battle.
That was
Okay,
Ray
yeah,
Park. That wasn't.
Huh?
That was Ray Park. That wasn't
Yeah,
the
that's
other.
just. But
Yeah.
let's
when
let
you
Sean.
have
Let's let Sean.
So you know.
Great.
when you have all the money in the world and the power to pick whoever you want to work with, why would you pick the writer of Batman versus Superman to help finish off the saga? That 9 was such a insult to not only Star Wars fans but just movie fans. My biggest problem with it was the pacing of it. They were just trying to jam everything they could in there, whether it made sense or it was nonsensical. It was a waste of time. I wish I did what Craig did and just sat there the whole movie and talked shit the entire way through. But I was seated in the middle of a bunch of old people who were actually enjoying it, so I didn't want to ruin their experience. But yeah,
Were they effing the whole time during the movie?
they were cheering against everything except for when it was like, oh, Rey's a Palpatine. Even they were like, what? This is stupid. So,
Well, they retcon that now. So
yeah, you
Already?
what?
Already. Okay.
she's the daughter of a clone, not the daughter of the original Palpatine.
'Cause
No one reads the novels. Nobody reads the novels. Nobody
But
cares.
the
The
Leia
Oh, I was
movie-
gonna ask when was that retconned? What?
It was in the
I-
novelization.
Yeah, I think like
of
2
9.
months ago.
They had a novel come out of the last movie.
Yeah.
Oh,
In there, I'm guessing after the fact they were like, oh, we should change this. But I think the leadership running Lucasfilm, which a lot of internet trolls blame Kathleen Kennedy of the failures of the movies. They're hits. They made money, but direction-wise, her and her team don't know what they're doing. The only things I've liked are the solo movies. So like Solo and Rogue One. I like Mandalorian because they have Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau who know what they're
Favreau is the shit. Yeah. I
yeah,
love
like
Favreau.
Mandalorian is legit one of the best pop media things that have come out within the last 10 years. But the rest of the main new trilogy is just garbage. So I think it was either yesterday or today they dropped the news that Taika Waititi is gonna helm some unnamed Star Wars movie coming up. So that gives me hope. But if they're just gonna give it to another Abrams like person or another Chris Terrio, like, yeah, I'm not gonna throw any more money at this franchise.
No, I don't. I think to your question earlier, Sean, about what I was doing all day for Star Wars, in the time that I had available, one of the things I did watch was the Favreau, the Mandalorian, like behind the scenes, and I guess it's like it's a new like series that they're showing, and they're doing it really. They're dissecting it by directing, acting, special effects, makeup, CG. So they're breaking it down for you to show you why Star Wars is a success. Let's not talk about the licensing and the toys, right? Because we got to talk about the toys that we're talking about Star Wars. But what they did is they're kind of doing like I think the new after all this 7, 8, 9 bullshit, they're doing, which I love. Actually, Ryan's work, I love what he did. It was very bold, and it made all the internet trolls like blow up. Their mind exploded, and that made me so happy. I just was like this. Golf clap all day. Fuck you, internet trolls. Fuck you. Come and see me. Anyways, so huh? What?
Nothing.
No, I just hate the fact that people just like hate shit to hate it when there's no reason for it. Like Luke Skywalker showed how fucking powerful he was by fucking going through the internets, the Force internets, chilling in fucking Jeddah, where the fuck he was, and like fucking up all of the what is Kylo Ren's crew called? The
Knights of Ren.
Yeah, the Knights of
The
Ren.
First
and all
Order?
those- yeah, the First Order, exactly. So like the Empire, the mini Empire, but he fucking destroyed all of them. But he was just like a fucking little
Monk.
hologram. You know, but he still had the ability to destroy shit. It wasn't like he was just getting shot at the whole time. He was using the Force and fucking fighting people and shit. And it's like, come on, dude, who could do that? Dude, that I've never seen. What Ryan showed is the power of the true chosen one, which was Luke. Luke was always the chosen one. It wasn't Anakin.
Craig, rebuttal.
So I've had a lot of debate about who the chosen one is. So Yoda's prophecy recently, I'm starting to think it's about Ahsoka.
Can you remind new listeners of the prophecy?
So the prophecy is that so Yoda believed that there would be one person who would bring balance between the two sides, which essentially that the dark side never could be obliterated, which is what a lot of people thought had happened. There was a belief that someone would bring balance so that the Jedi weren't the one extreme. So what Qui-Gon thought was that it was Anakin. He thought that he was so powerful that he could just draw basically all the Force into himself and obliterate the dark side. But yeah, if you've been watching the Clone Wars stuff, having Ahsoka be the fulcrum, the balance is kind of where I've seen it more, and I think that's a huge thing that we'll have to see in the Mandalorian season 2, now that she's a main character.
I don't know. I don't even know if she's gonna be a main character. I think it's like just some spam. Like they're gonna throw in Rosario Dawson into a role, and she's gonna be a side piece, just like that UFC chick was. And it's like I feel like Ashoka's badass. Ashoka is like the essence of George Lucas' character, which Filoni is now mini George Lucas. So like I think we can have hope, like a few of you have said, about the next types of films that come out, because Filoni and Favreau. Yeah.
French.
I've been drinking. But look at this glass. This is an OG glass right here.
Oh, that's old school, dude. I used to have that shit. Is
Like
that the
that?
Burger King one or the? Huh?
Yes, but they're like the showrunners. It's Favreau and Filoni are the showrunners for all the shit. So they're like the equivalent of what's that? The Marvel guy
Oh,
for Marvel Studios. That guy.
Kevin Fig or whatever. Feige.
Maybe, yeah.
Figgy.
Feige.
Whatever his name
Figgy
is.
pudding.
So so we all know where we are on the rainbow of Star Wars fans.
Yeah.
What is the childhood memory that you have of Star Wars?
Probably going to see Return of the Jedi in Redwood City when the UA used to be there before it got turned into a car dealership. But it was so yeah, seeing Return of the Jedi, seeing Jabba the Hutt on the screen. I was only like 3 years old, but that's the first movie I actually remember.
You remember when you were 3?
Yeah. I remember being in the parking lot, walking up the steps. The steps were like on the sidewalk. It was weird, but
Can you tell us more about the parking lot?
the parking lot, I know. I can describe the parking lot to a T.
Please don't. Please don't.
Yeah.
The stairs description was enough. I'm very impressed that you remember the parking lot when you were 3. That is wild to me.
I don't remember a whole lot of shit, but I remember that. So it just stuck with me, and then I played with all my brother's action figures because he was 3 years older than me and he didn't want them anymore. So I had like all the OG Star Wars action figures and played with those. That was fun. Yeah, hence why I got all that shit. But yeah.
My story, since I'm off mute, and my story is much lamer than that. I'll go. I will skip my childhood memory because my childhood memory was just randomly watching it when I was a kid. But when I was, I want to say, I don't remember, 16-ish, when episode 1 came out, I actually waited with my friends in line for about 12 hours, only to be a little bit disappointed in how
Was it immediate, or were you like, "This is badass" when you were watching it, or did the disappointment start immediately?
We stood in line, San Jose, California. Yeah, we had shifts. We were super excited. I was with some non-nerd friends from high school, and we finally saw the movie, and immediately, like once the movie starts, you're just like, what is happening? What is this? Like, this is a nightmare. So yeah, it very quickly became a disaster. But I will never forget being so hyped for a movie. I haven't waited in line for a movie for so long before or since episode 1 of Star Wars. So even though it's not a childhood memory, it's a much better story than my childhood memories. But yeah, it was a disaster.
Did you go to the special editions before that?
Not in the theater. I waited until I believe they were on VHS in Costco. You know, you actually, Paul might have seen, what were those dome theaters in San Jose by Valley Fair, where Valley Fair is now?
Oh, it's those IMAX ones.
Maybe they're IMAX now. Obviously, they weren't then, but yeah, you guys know what I'm talking about. It doesn't matter where, but
yeah, I know
anyway.
the dome. I know the dome ones you're talking about.
Yeah, so that's what. Yeah, waited in line for a long time. Got severely burned by Jar Jar Binks. And that's not the only gentleman he ever did that to.
Craig or Sean?
So mine is my first memory is kind of one of those the lame ones. But it was when they put After Return was on HBO. My dad got HBO that month for Star Wars because they had all 3 on TV. And I just remember being a kid, and I very specifically remember the scene from Empire where it's all the bounty hunters. And I just remembered Boss's feet, like the scene where the officer like runs into his feet and like it pans up, and I'm like, this guy's awesome. And like that was like when I got drawn in, and I forced my dad to go back and watch all of them. Disappointed that Boss was pretty much in just that scene. But yeah, it was that was kind of what lasted me in, was this random side character, and that's why I'm still like so into like the side characters. Like probably Ayla Secura is like one of my favorite characters, even though most people, when I say that, they're like, I have no idea who that is. But yeah, so that was mine.
But that was the cool thing about the original trilogy, was all like the side characters. It's like, but I mean, because it was the only thing for almost like 2 decades, so people like dove into it and just tried to learn everything about it that they could. And now they're just pumping out movies, and it's like, there's not as much involvement, I don't think.
Yeah, and I was always an EU person, and the fact that's probably my biggest difficulty with the new stuff is that Disney has officially said, okay, the EU stuff is obliterated. That never happened. That's fan fiction. That's been my biggest problem with the Disney acquisition.
Sure, but like that was gonna happen. I mean,
oh no, I agree.
I don't think it really had to.
No, it
Well,
didn't.
sure, it didn't have to, but like at some point in time, some dudes made a decision, and then all fans could either be angry about it for the rest of their lives, or they could just be like, okay, well, it is what it is now, and let's get on board with the new normal. I mean, yeah, it sucks for a lot of people, but yeah, I mean, it like that was a sea change moment that people had to either get behind or not.
So Sean, so when you were wearing a face mask as a kid, what were you thinking about with Star Wars?
No, so my earliest memory, I was probably around 5.
You were in Taiwan?
No, I was here. I grew up here.
Oh.
Don't be racist, Omar.
Yeah, hella racist.
Yeah,
so we went to my friends of my parents' friends, like some rich people's houses when they had like, it's either 40 or 50 inch back in the day when it was still like super heavy, ginormous TVs. And I remember that they were like
50 inch.
And then they had a laser disc. So I got to watch New Hope on laser disc sitting like 5 inches away from the screen. So what I remember is just watching the trench run super close to that TV, giant screen from the distance I was sitting at and watching that trench run, which was mind-blowing at that age. So,
dude,
yeah, that
laser
was
disc
like,
trench run at that age, that's fucking legit.
Yeah, so yeah, Star Wars grabbed me as a kid. That was my favorite franchise. I loved the first one. I loved Empire. I loved the Ewoks. I didn't care. It was all good. So yeah, and then yeah, like you guys were saying, the side characters, we didn't know anything about them for like 20 years. We just held on to those toys that had no articulation that we all collected and just hung on to everything while even when it wasn't cool in school, like people would like make fun of you if you had like Star Wars like backpacks or lunch boxes after Jedi. 3 years or 4 years after Jedi, like no one cared about the franchise anymore. So that was something that just kept with me. And then then we got the prequels, and then I felt Bryce's pain.
Did you get made fun of at school, Sean? Is that what we're hearing?
Yeah, I did, because I would sit there and hum the Imperial March, and the people would tell me to shut up. So,
I mean, I love Star Wars, but if I heard you singing that at lunch, I'd tell you to fucking shut the fuck up as well.
No, it wasn't at lunch. It was like in the middle of class. So
I would join in.
That was No,
No,
someone else did join in. There was 2 of us.
Well, it would have been incredible if the whole class just joined in, right?
Yeah, fuck yeah, dude. That would have been rad.
No.
So, going back to what I was talking about earlier, the whole like new like crew, it's like a directors. It's like there's like 5 or 6 directors that you guys will probably watch this thing. It's like The Mandalorian, behind the scenes or whatever. And it's headed up by the main showrunner is Favreau. Did I get that right that time?
Yep.
No.
Good.
Okay.
For government work.
But Taiki Waititi, he's a big part of that.
You did that even better than
you guys
right. That was better than
We
John.
Are in the Shadows. Have you guys watched We Are in the Shadows?
Yeah.
No.
Where Taika
I
Waititi
haven't, but I
fans.
know that it's from I know that it's from Thor 3
Right?
director and
Jojo
what's his
Rabbit.
bucket?
Jojo Rabbit. Yeah.
Right.
There you go. Thank you. Yep, that's what I'm looking for.
Thor Ragnarok.
Right. Have you watched the movie, Craig, and the series We Are in the Shadows?
Yes.
I've only seen the movie.
Okay.
What do you think?
The series I
Sean.
actually like better.
The series, okay, you guys gotta watch them both. Fucking amazing. Like, this guy's a genius. This guy is like our version of like Buster Keaton. Like a fucking genius. He's a film genius. Like he's able to convey.
Those of you who don't know who Buster Keaton is, you guys know vaudeville, right?
Yes.
I don't even know what
That's
that
the
means.
worst segue ever. You're introducing new listeners who don't know who Buster Keaton is, and you say you know who vaudeville is. The same people that don't know Buster Keaton don't know vaudeville.
So the thing
Yes.
is,
Walk it back, Paul. Walk it back.
no, it's okay. What I'll help him. I'll help him with that. So the big thing, conveying like joy and emotion in film for people to feel good internally. Like I think Taiki's like, because he's a Polynesian guy. I'm a Polynesian guy. So like we vibe off
Yeah,
each
you
other.
say his
You know,
name then.
he could feel his antennae. I could feel his little antennae like right here. And it's like he's all about like just loving life and laughing and feeling good. Like, dude, how could someone win an Emmy writing about some kid and his imaginary friend is fucking Hitler? Like, tell
Are
me
you
that.
talking about the
talking
Oscar
about the
that he won or
Oscars.
the Emmy that he won?
He's talking about the Oscar.
Oscar?
I agree. He's talking about the Oscar. We'll agree that you're talking about the Oscar.
We're talking about movies, right?
And
Movies?
by the way, he's a handsome, well-spoken gentleman, such as yourself. Omar, keep going.
So, what I gotta say is, if you guys haven't yet, everybody's gotta watch that Mandalorian behind-the-scenes shit. It's fucking incredible. It gives us kind of like everything that was wrong with Game of Thrones, and I'm sorry to have to go down this fucking dirty path that we forgot about for the last 6 months.
Whoa. Before the last season, what was wrong? Before the last season and a half, what was wrong with Game of Thrones?
Game of Thrones was run by egotistical maniacs that thought they were bigger than the original plot and source material. And that's the problem.
Is this true?
Some. I would say some, not all.
Whoa. Can we take this offline and have a separate Game of Thrones conversation? Because I feel like only the last season and a half were bad.
Oh no, I agree with you, Bryce. That's when it started getting big. That's when that started happening.
Okay.
That's when they surpassed the books. That's when it started happening.
But they gave them the opportunity. There was that like little window where they said, "Oh, we're gonna go in and we're gonna take it. We're gonna take that fucking football. We're gonna run that shit into the end zone, and we're gonna fucking do the icky shuffle." That wasn't the icky shuffle, but
It was
I think
a good attempt, Omar.
icky shuffle.
Okay. Omar, can you conclude your thought?
I think it's concluded as much as it possibly can be.
You did a great job.
And just in addition to that, for people who are looking for like great directors, go back and look at like Irvin Kushner's stuff before Empire. Because the guy was, I mean, he was George Lucas's film teacher. The guy was amazing, and then he did Empire. But most people remember him for his last movie, which was RoboCop 2, which
was fucking.
I mean, it had great stuff, but it had issues.
Dude, it's like the time of like Max Headroom? Dude, it's like everything was cheap. Everything was.
That's a great shout, Omar.
You know, like nothing quality, nothing substance. Everything was glitz and glamour and pop.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
That was the sign of the times, though. Like,
shit, Craig, you dropped like hardcore ass director shit.
Yeah,
like,
Craig. Craig was dropping bombs.
No, Irvin Kushner is, to me, should be celebrated a lot more than he is, because he wasn't supposed to direct Empire. Empire was supposed to be Steven Spielberg, and like literally he couldn't do it, and so Lucas like freaked out. So he called his teacher from USC. That's how he became the director and did what I think most of us agree is when you try to get the best, the quote unquote best director of all time, and you have to replace him, and then you do quote unquote the best movie in the franchise that speaks to you.
Yeah, totally. Wow, dude. I did not know that. That's wild.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Paul.
Yo.
How do you feel about Empire, bro? Why don't you give us like your thoughts?
How do I feel about Empire?
Whoa. While Paul is collecting his thoughts, can I ask a question? Because I know that Paul's not ready. How much, because when you're changing directors at last minute, how much at that point, I mean, I know that we're all talking anecdotally, how much of it at that point is writing versus direction? Because if he changed it at the last minute because he was expecting Spielberg, theoretically, a lot of it was in the can writing-wise. But like that, I mean,
they
that's
had to
a great
alter
story.
Right, they had to alter a lot for Empire, because Empire was a disaster. So essentially, a lot of the Hoss stuff was filmed in a parking lot because it was snowing too hard to get out. So literally, they told Mark Hamill,
fucking my parking lot, it's snowing all the fucking time.
Yeah,
I got
they told Mark Hamill
that I'm gonna go climb in right now.
Yeah, they're like go out to the parking lot, and they couldn't see him, so they're just filming from the lobby. And also his car accident, it became much darker after Mark Hamill's car accident. Because they had to write all of that after his face got scarred.
Wait, what?
Yeah, they started filming Empire. Then Mark Hamill was in a horrible car accident, which
get out of town.
Yeah, all the film, all the stuff that they're filming where he's healing, that's legitimately his scarring from his car accident.
No, is that from whatever summer that movie he did later? Okay, I know that
it was
later,
right after that when he got in the accident.
Dude,
this is...
Yeah.
Tell us what you think about Empire, because I really want to know.
No, Paul's not ready yet.
You and I come from the same generation, dude. It's the best Star Wars movie, easily. I mean, I rank it first, then New Hope, but
what makes it so much better though? Because like when we talk about Empire, you and I, like I feel like sometimes we're just quiet about it.
I mean. Well, I mean, it takes place on 3 different worlds, right? There's Hoth, Dagobah, and Bespin. Those are the 3 main ones. But I think it's more about Vader, to be honest. It's his story.
He takes center stage, right?
Yeah,
he takes center stage.
Fuck yeah. And he kicks ass.
Omar, stop hand-holding him through this fucking interview. Jesus.
But it's like I can already hear the questions coming before he says it.
Yeah, it's almost like you guys share the force. Why don't you just let Paul talk about it, Omar?
But yeah, no, dude, it's Vader, dude. Like, I never thought it was like a Luke Skywalker story. It's Vader, and Empire probably made that more abundantly clear than any other movie. I mean, New Hope kind of set the stage, set up all the characters and everything, and then I think Empire was like for sure like this is like Vader's movie, like Vader's story. So that's the thing I think about the newest movie trilogy that I don't like. There's no Vader reference really at all. Just
except for literally every movie where they reference Vader and how whatever Adam Driver will never be Vader.
Right.
But other than that, they never mention him.
No, but I mean more like referencing him himself, not like his fucking spawn.
Fair.
Also, Empire doesn't get credit for introducing the 2 biggest side characters, which Boba and Yoda, which are both introduced in that movie.
And it's funny how they're both front and center now, as both not the side characters. Everybody else is, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're all watching it.
That is a great shout. That is a great shout.
Empire was also like, for a lot of us, it was the first movie where we saw where the good guys just straight out lose. They're losing like the entire movie, and just getting downtrodden and beaten.
Well, it came out in 79 or 80?
Let me check real fast.
Yeah, while he's checking, nobody fucking cares that 1 year difference. But the reason that like it's important for like the film history of like the world is that you're absolutely right, Sean, is that it is the first time in like cinematic history that the heroes lose. Like that's I mean, it's probably I'm sure it's not the first time, but it absolutely is the first like major time.
Yeah.
And so that's part of why it's so impactful. So it doesn't. I don't know what year it comes out, but yeah, it is absolutely so important because it was such a major piece where the heroes lose. That is a big fucking deal.
Yeah, because like most movies, like when we go into blockbusters, we just assume, oh, we know all the major leads. They're gonna live. They're gonna win. We know how it's gonna end and all that. And then, Empire, they're losing the first battle. The ending is horrible because one of their guys is like basically kidnapped. And then you have the twist, which is one of the most major movie twists ever, which is probably the most spoiled one too. But I don't know. You guys can spoil it if you want, but
no spoilers.
Yeah. Okay. So like, yeah, and then for anyone that's never seen Star Wars,
40 years later.
Yeah, like anybody new to Star Wars, you have to tell them to watch in release order just for that twist alone.
Right. That's why I was going to ask Paul, because you have the kids coming up. Are you going to have them watch in release order so that they get that twist, or are you going to go one? Okay.
No, it's all about release order, dude. It's it's gotta be the vision, not the numbers.
Machete method? No machete method for you.
What's that?
No machete method for you, isn't it? Machete method, isn't that the thing?
Yeah.
Machete? You go 4, 5, 2, 3, 6 is 6, 7, 8, 9.
So I started. So I got a 7-year-old son. I started the machete method. That fucking kid, he has no idea. I'm just gonna watch him in any fucking order that he wants. We watched the first 2, and he's like, "I don't know, Dad," and I'm just like, "Who are you? Anyway, disappointment to the family, but
go back to what you were saying about the newer movies not referencing Vader. I guess I was saying that. But yeah, I mean, they show his mask and all that shit. But like, his spirit should have been there with the rest of the Jedi. And then his spirit didn't show up at all.
Did you want Christensen to show up, though?
I mean,
I wanted James Earl Jones. James Earl Jones. I want him to show up.
What's that?
James Earl Jones. I want him to show up.
Yeah, damn it.
That is a great shout.
So James Earl Jones in Empire, that's when I knew that I was ready for disappointment, because I was ready for James Earl Jones to be a black man. But then when they took that fucking hood off and Return of the Jedi, it was a white guy. I was like, oh, that's why he wanted him back as a son. That's why he wanted him back.
Did you steal that line from Chasing Amy?
Yeah, he did.
I think that he did.
I've never seen it, but I'll believe you guys.
I think that's almost a direct line from Chasing Amy, Omar.
Well, guess what?
Yeah.
I'm a Kevin Smith hater, and I still love his shit. So there's that.
You know that it's Kevin Smith, not Kevin Spader.
Kevin Spader? Did I
So I have one other random question for the two guys that have kids.
Yeah.
Do you feel, and I know this is a stretch, but do you feel like Jar Jar is going to be to kids now what Ewoks are to us now, where they were like so hated, and then it's like, oh, I could see like they're kind of comedic, or do you think Jar Jar is like too far in the hole?
Great
In
question.
the hole. I mean, porgs are like
Dude.
Ewoks now.
Yeah.
Porgs.
Porgs are.
Yeah.
I love talking over anybody, but he beat me to it. But yeah, I mean, Jar Jar just missed the generation, or at least this generation. So for my kids, they will never know Jar Jar because he absolutely missed it. They will never watch that that trilogy and be like, oh, that guy, he's good. He's the best. Not only because I will never let them watch it on repeat, that trilogy. But yeah, there's so many better characters that it's not even like I hate this guy. He's so popular and lovable. He's kind of awful, but like we'll never watch him. And so my kids will be like watching episode 3 and being like, who's this fucking dude in the Senate that's super annoying? What? I don't get this guy. Who voted him into the Senate? Why? Yeah. Why
Are you
is
talking about
why
Boss
is
and
this,
Ass?
why is this chick
Oh no,
from
Jar Jar takes Padme's
Jar Jar.
place in the Senate when she goes back.
yeah,
Yeah.
Craig's dropping knowledge. Paul, get the fuck out of here. Where are you even coming from?
I think Baby Yoda is probably the
Yeah, there you go.
But he's
Yeah,
universally loved.
He,
Like
like-
the Ewoks didn't have that
Can we
love.
stop calling him that and call him the child?
No, fuck you. He's Baby Yoda.
You're pissed off Favreau or
I don't care.
Favreau or whatever. Fucking
No.
Whoa. I feel like I'm about to lose all of my nerd cred. But for those of us who may not have finished The Mandalorian, is he not just Baby Yoda?
No, he's not Baby Yoda.
They never reference him as that.
that's the derogatory name.
Bryce, so
Calling
even though
him a
you
ninja.
haven't finished it, he still has relatively the same mystery status as the beginning.
Okay.
So you haven't missed anything.
Okay,
Nothing
good.
spoiled for you.
So if I only watched those first 3 episodes and wondered why they didn't just make that a first prequel season, that's not that crazy.
So Mandalorian timeline-wise is after Return of the Jedi, and it's sometime after Return of the Jedi, like 5
I didn't
years.
know that they ever put a timeline on it.
Yeah, it's like 5 or 6 years after the Empire falls.
Oh, that's kind of cool that they did that. I did not know that. All right. Yeah, I watched that first arc and I was like, why wouldn't this just be one season? Why would they not just go to the next season? But
that's why you still see Stormtrooper armor, but most of them are like worn out and kind of grimy because they're just like freelancers now, running around.
okay.
So we're just doing a Star Wars wrap up now. May the 24th.
Oh yeah, we're about to
24th. May the 4th be with you is past. Now it's Revenge of the 5th. So favorite Sith Lord. I will start off. Favorite Sith Lord. Palpatine. Wow. Palpatine is the reason why I love the prequels. He is the villain that you just gotta love because he's smiling the whole time. He shows how powerful he is by putting the whole wet, dirty blanket that hasn't been washed for like 4 months.
What are you talking about?
has old stain over all the Jedi. The Jedi are like, what the fuck's going on? The Jedi like.
Is that kind of
Paul
like
just
our
walks
reaction to
away.
your internet connection?
This is the thing. Palpatine is so powerful. Every single Jedi that's out there, thousands of Jedis, they don't fucking even smell sniffle. That's my guy right there. That guy, Ian McDiarmid, incredible actor.
It's insane that he played him in all the movies.
He was like just going like this.
Yeah, dude. I do know that part. That is crazy.
He was weaving and bobbing with Anakin, young Anakin, and we saw how powerful Anakin was, and Anakin didn't get a sniff of it. But to Craig's point, yes, the person that eventually found out about it through Maul was Ashoka, which I'm really excited about what her story is going to be, and actually Maul too. So, what about you,
Hand it
Sean?
off.
What's your
Pass the
who's your
baton,
favorite?
Omar. Sean, what's the story?
I liked Luke when he went to the dark side in the Dark Horse comics.
Yeah.
Luke and not Luke.
Dark of Fire, and he was going up against Palpatine and his clones, which, yeah, they tried to bite from for the last movie. But other than that, I don't really know the Sith Lords, man. I don't know anything about the Old Republic, really. I didn't play those games. So I don't know about the Sith history or whatever. Like most people would say Maul, but he got taken out like a little bitch. So
No, he's alive still, motherfucker. What are you talking about?
Nobody watches your cartoons.
How can you call it a bitch when it's 1-on-2, dude?
Exactly.
Good point. Excellent point. He
Yeah.
went out like a bitch. He literally like got taken out 2-on-1.
He watched Obi-Wan flip over him entirely, land, and then slice.
It was an impressive flip.
It's better than getting your jetpack shot and falling into a sarlacc.
But that was for comedic things. This was comedic when it wasn't supposed to be.
Totally disagree.
Who's
Yeah.
It's okay.
I
You're
disagree,
allowed to be
Jared.
wrong, Sean. You're allowed to be wrong.
If the whole fight you're like lightning fast, but oh no, all of a sudden you're gonna watch someone flip over you, slow as
Bro,
hell.
they're just that much
He got cocky.
faster. Why do you got to be fastest?
That's just bad writing. That's just bad
He
writing.
got cocky.
You're kind of being fastest.
Craig, who's your Sith Lord? Who's your Sith Lord of choice?
Darth Caedius, which is the name that Jason takes. But if we're going in canon, because he's gone now, probably Revan. Revan's story is great. If you guys have not played Knights of the Old Republic, it's very cheap on Steam now. I think it's like $2 on May the 4th. So get that. His story is great. I don't want to spoil it because I know he's not one of the main characters, but it's Caedius if we still have the EU, but in current continuity, it's Revan.
Right now? Yeah, I'd probably go Maul. I gotta go Maul.
Why Maul?
Why?
Why? Why Maul?
Easily, dude. It's the best fucking lightsaber battle there is in the fucking or the whole saga. That's it.
Can I let you know? Can I let you in on something,
No.
please?
Okay, yeah.
So you need to watch Clone Wars.
Clone Wars fight.
I know. I've been lagging on that.
You need to watch
I started
Rebels,
the first.
Clone Wars, and Rebels.
Hey Paul, if you watch Clone Wars, you can see Maul with chicken legs.
Well, he
That's
starts
not
off with
true.
spider legs.
Because he doesn't have his real legs anymore.
No,
Mm-hmm.
For new listeners, what channel is Clone Wars on?
Clone Wars and Rebels is
I
on
mean,
Disney
I
Plus.
obviously know, but Disney Plus. I obviously knew that.
I'm gonna watch
But
that because, again, tying back to what I was saying this whole time, but maybe not coherently, is it's all about what Filoni does and what he touches. That is bringing in the original shit from like what George Lucas did back in the day. Like Filoni, I think George Lucas wanted. What's that guy that you like, Bryce? What's that guy that
Chris
you
Claremont?
hate? Craig? No, not Chris Claremont. I'm not talking
Abrams?
about comics right now. About Star Wars. Abrams.
X-Men.
So I think that
I mean, saying that I like Abrams is like, I mean, I guess.
Mark Miller.
I
so
do, but like,
they put a dice roll on Abrams versus Filoni, which is a fair bet to take because Abrams has had more commercial success and Filoni is just like an animator. But we can see that Filoni actually knows a lot more about Star Wars than Abrams.
I prefer Filoni then. Hey, can we do a time check? Omar, what are we looking at?
We're looking
I'm
at
looking at the
wrapping
clock.
it. So we finish up, Bryce. Who's your favorite Sith Lord?
Okay, so who is the motherfucker that Yoda fought in the prequel trilogy that was like the most absolutely batshit insane lightsaber fight ever?
My guy,
Dooku?
Darth Sidious.
Same answer for me then. whoever Yoda fought in that prequel trilogy, not only because we're running out of time, but it's helpful that we're running out of time. That I was like, okay, this prequel trilogy is awful, but like that's as good as you're gonna get.
I feel
I would like to briefly say he did fight Dooku or Darth Tyrannus, but that fight was not as good.
Yoda?
Yes, in Attack of the Clone. Everybody forgets Attack of the Clones for good reason. But after Dooku takes down Obi-Wan and Anakin, there's a brief fight where it's just Yoda flipping around and you can't see anything.
Yeah, so
I hate that
it's
fight scene.
simultaneously annoying for me because it's like I can't even fucking see anything. But at the same time, he does like infinite flips, and it's kind of like as a young fan, when you see it when you're whatever 17 years old or whatever, you're kind of like, oh yeah, Yoda is a badass. There's your proof. And I'm kind of worried about how we're gonna run out of time, but maybe we won't.
So may the fourth be with you. Thank you so much for checking in with us. Please subscribe to our YouTube page and everything else that we're rocking. Sean, what's our Facebook page?
It's just Nerdin'In on Facebook.
And Craig, what's our Twitter account?
At Nerdin'In.
Okay, and our Instagram is Nerdin_in. And you can find us. Just find us because we'll be there. We'll be waiting for you.
Do the
You come
work.
and you know what?
If you don't find us, Omar will ride up in an Uber and find you and not leave you alone.
So I'm not in Uber anymore, but I will find you. Finding me. Thank you so much for joining us and hanging out with us. And it's all about that love. Spread that love. You guys be safe out there. Mask up. Don't listen to fucking idiots that are telling you you're safe because you're not. Take care of your family and your loved ones.
Word. Yeah.
And I am closing the recording.